So Pep, last time I seen you, man, you was in the pancake house, right? Getting some grub.
We live though. But okay, you was at the pancake house getting some grub.
No,
that wasn't you.
No, that wasn't me.
No, okay. Well, I seen your distant cousin brother that resembled you.
The last time you saw me was at the retirement celebration on First Street.
Wow, like 2019, 2020?
No, Chief Cobb retired. You know, the spider. That's the last place you saw me.
Gotcha.
That makes sense, man.
That makes sense. Shout out to Chief Cobb.
No, I'll wait on that one.
Yeah. So
big ups.
Tap in with us. If you go ahead and get our perspective things going. If you haven't already, follow us on YouTube at Perspective217 Podcast. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, thank you, and subscribe. I had to get my libation before we get going. Like, share, and subscribe. Share this on your social media. Let's build. We got a great show planned ahead. A lot of good information. Pancake
house, right? Get some grub.
Yep. Kel, you live somewhere.
I'm live all the way around.
Yeah, I hear it. All right. So we're going to give it one more, get to that 6:05 mark, and then we're going to kick it on in. Let me see. Reacting to my story. 6:05.
6:05.
Here we go.
You're tuned in to Hits 107.3. No one knows hits like we do.
Join so fresh, you gotta Shazam it. Coming through loud and clear. It's powered 1, 2, jam.
It's all perspective. When perception comes control, respecting you all over. Right around is what you chose. Perspective. This is the point of view, the odds and the outcome, based on how you move. It's all perspective. When perception comes control, respecting you all over. Right around is what you chose. Perspective. This is the point of view, the odds and the outcome, based on how you move.
Based on how you. And who we got with us today?
Live on deck. Hey, you got your man Pep here in the 217.
Indeed. And you know, we rocking those, you know what I mean? Your beard culture, you did Kel on something else because that flipped up. But that's okay.
I'm on the Harley lot today for all my bikers out there. Y'all stay safe, man. Although the season get ready to close, y'all still stay safe out there. Unbreakable Kings, K&K. All my people, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Kel, you been on that bike today?
I have not, sir. I have not.
Well, yeah. Okay. Since you ain't been on your bike, bro, we had a show 2 weeks ago, right? Yeah. So how's your 2 weeks been, man? I know it's been busy because I've talked to you, but how's it been?
Yeah, man, 2 weeks have been eventful, to say the least. Just on some travel stuff, man, some housing stuff, some job stuff, man. All that has kind of been encompassing, man. Just kind of been rolling into one. You know, it seems like you kind of have three segments of life, but it seems like it all kind of been tied into one, man. And so it's been busy. You know, P, you know, just kind of being on the back end of this movie project, man, that's in the works. So been doing a lot of that grinding with the bros down there, down in Alabama A&M. Shouts out to the bros and the X Clan. You know, as well as trying to keep these streets safe, man. And you know, even though we're moving to the fall season, where we're back into the school season, where I think it's 4 weeks here, I think, man, and it's just been. It seems like every week, man, it's progressed to something, you know, more and more severe. You know, we'll talk about that, man, with our special guest Pep here, man. But all in all, man, I'm blessed. Like I say, man, 10 toes down. Let's keep this thing rolling.
Absolutely, absolutely. My brother Pep, how you been, man? I mean, you've been with us before, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You ain't new to this, right? So
No,
really,
I'm true to this. I'm true to this.
You still a special guest, but
hey, I'm family.
But
Call
family.
it what you will.
There you go.
But we ain't getting the drinks for you now.
No.
Drink now.
No. You get your own drink. You get your own drink.
Blue on blue.
Blue on blue. Absolutely, man. Hey, so how life been for you, bro?
It really blessed, man. I've been busy as well, like Kel's. A lot of things happening on the job front. A lot of things happening in both Twin Cities. A lot of stuff happening. A lot of newness happening on the family front. We got a new family member now, and some status changes. Really, just blessed them, man. I think that September 23rd, 2021, if you just hear, like Kel said, 10 toes down, what used to be taken for granted is a tremendous blessing. If you hear and you healthy, you beyond blessed.
Absolutely.
Now, Pep, man, for those that just tuning in today, like you said, on September 23rd, 2021, man, give our viewers and listeners, man, a little background of what you do currently, sir, so they have a little bit more insight of who you are.
Yeah, well, currently I work for the city of Urbana, Illinois, as the community engagement coordinator. So I do a lot of work housed with direct engagement relations with our schools, our marginalized populations, and our police force. Had the opportunity and the privilege to be a part of the 10 principles work that was adopted by the state and brought into Urbana. Did a lot of work with the use of force review policy, where we reviewed use of force tactics, where we took some things out, we put some things in, and we identified new strategies, things that are absolutely not tolerated, and things that absolutely need to be implemented. Do a lot of work with our youth here at the high school, the middle school, and 3 identified elementary schools. Blessed to still work with an elite and amazing young group of African-American male high school students who have dubbed, named, and titled themselves the Self-Made Kings. This came about off the shoulders, the sweat, the blood, the drive of my man Peter. And so just really working to keep that avenue not just here, but in motion. I don't want potential energy. I want motion.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, man. So that's what employment-wise, that's where I'm at. But I think when we talk about the work, that's beyond all of our job titles, because we're talking about life and livelihood.
Right. Well said, brother. Well said.
Absolutely, man. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Life and livelihood, right? Because we have a lot of things going on in these communities, man, especially in the Champaign-Urbana community. And we're going to focus kind of on that, but these things are happening everywhere, right? It's not just in Champaign-Urbana. It's happening everywhere. It's just there's firsthand knowledge and information of the information that's things that's going on there. So quick recap on what my life been, man. So we finally, as I think y'all knew the last time my office flooded because we had a pipe that busted in a wall, and my carpet was like squashy. Every time you step on it, squashy, right? You know what I mean? And so I was having some issues and had to cut all the carpet up in the office to save the carpet in the other rooms. And so we got some nice laminate down right now. Went to Costco. Y'all don't have a Costco out there, do you?
Yeah.
What? Oh, I'm tripping.
Come on.
You better tell him, Pep, man. What are you talking about? He ain't been gone that long.
I got the gold membership.
Come on now. Big.
I got the gold membership.
Come on now. You better tell him, Pep.
Got some nice laminate from Costco, right? The only issue is that Mohawk, nice Mohawk waterproof flooring. The only issue with Costco is they don't sell the the molding, like the door moldings, right? They just sell the laminate, right? I got to order that. And I like
Menards, huh? You got Menards out there?
We ain't got no Menards, bro.
I
got to go
How
to
about
Wichita.
that? How about that?
I got to go to Wichita, Dallas
Woo!
to get Menards, bro. You know what I mean?
We got one right around the corner.
I do know that.
Yeah,
right?
you know it.
So, but you know, the missus mostly, you know, put the flooring down because, you know, my knees and back and hips and, you know,
just ain't gonna do it.
My knees and my back just don't work right. So I just I helped. I say I helped.
Were you supervising helping, or were you like helping?
So let me tell you kind of funny story. She fussed at me like several times, right? Because she said,
"All right, now you know we only got an hour now, so the story better be kind of like
short. It's gonna be real quick. It'll be done before 6:16. So you know, she was saying like hold the planks, right? You know what I mean? Because you got the planks, you got to lock them in and slide them. And I was holding it, but when she was trying to put the other one in, it kept sliding back, right? Because I'm holding it a little too strong. She said, "Don't use all your muscles, just use a little bit of your muscles," right? I'm like, but shit, you know, I'm either all in or all out, right? I don't know how to do that middle of the road mess, right? So for everybody who know me, y'all know I go hard, I go home. There ain't no ifs, ands, buts about it. There ain't no in between. But and so that's what kept happening. So that's why I say she did it, because she kept kicking me off the project. Right.
Oh man.
So, but I did get some paint done, man. I got better at my paint game. Took me 3 days to paint one room, but I got it done, right? Trimming and everything, right? So you know, because I kept my neck and my back, right?
Hey, my neck and my R.I.P. Ezel, AJ Johnson, R.I.P.
R.I.P. man, Ezel, yes sir. But so that's what it is. So. Kel, I'm gonna go and start with you, man. I'm gonna throw out 2 words that go together: schools and students.
A mess.
A mess.
A mess. You know, all of us here, man. You know, on this panel, man, we love the kids. I mean, we love the kids. You know that I think I can answer this for everybody here on this panel, man. As you know, that is one of our you know, our passions is the youth. You know, especially when it comes to you know, molding and trying to guide them in the upward path. So for us, you know, it's really no work when it comes to us dealing with the youth. Unfortunately, what we've come across in our journey of trying to help the youth is the obstacles and some of the things that the youth are dealing with before they get to school, which is kind of throwing them off the track. In order for be the best student when they get to school. And so here locally, you know, we've had an influx or an uptick of violence. And with that being said, you know, I don't know. We could toss this around, and in my perspective 217 is that I think these kids are coming off a year and a half of being in the cabin, so to speak. They've been locked into social media for a year and a half, and now they're kind of getting themselves reacclimated with life in a social environment. And so everything that's kind of happened the year and a half before has now come to a head, because you know, all those conversations that you could have via text, right, now it's up and close and personal. And so some of those contacts and connections are great, because you're like, my man, how you doing, man? I remember we used to do, you know, we used to conversate via text. Now I get to vibe with you. But the other part of it is like, yo, you've been talking all that mess.
Right.
Come get this one. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of my spiel of students in school. And I'll pass it on to Pat, man, and get your insight on it, brother. What you think?
It's a big picture. It's a real big picture. And unfortunately, there's not just one problem or one color or one paint or one brush. And I think that on a broad scale of things, this has the ingredients for this has been cooking. And this is what I mean. There was a time when we grew up, the three of us, because we're all close in age, that unless you had cable TV and you had HBO or Cinemax, with the exception of hell or damn, you didn't hear cursing on TV.
No, right.
Yeah, you're right.
There was a time, unless you had cable WBMX radio out of Chicago, and you stayed up after 8 o'clock for the rap block, you didn't hear profanity and sexualized talk on the radio. At least not blatant. Of course, there's always those subliminal messages.
Right.
But that's what time. There was a time with subliminal. And so at some point, we decided it was okay to place adult ingredients in underdeveloped minds and hands. And then we're surprised when the physical response, the physiology, outdoes the mentality. In that these kids, and I don't say that as an insult, and that's one of the problems. They take it as an insult.
Right.
But these kids, these minors, these young people who are under the age of 18 no longer know how, often desire, or are placed in environments where they can be just a kid. One of the things I told my oldest always growing up when she was 11, I said, hey, it's okay just to be 11. You got plenty of time to be 30 when you get there.
Absolutely.
It's okay to be 11. It's okay to be 15. It's great. It's not okay. So now, then we wonder why. Why are these kids acting up? And why is all this happening? Well, where did the floodgate of easy access to adult material become normalized? It is harder for these kids to pass driver's education and get a driver's license than it is for them to get their hands on a weapon. When did we normalize that easy access gate?
Ooh, Pep.
When are the people who do not look like us, who've made this possible, going to take a deep breath, tell the truth, and be...
Hey, if I had gunshots on my thing, I'd be talking about shots fired. We don't want to talk about guns other than putting down.
Shots have been fired
around here, right?
Have been fired. But absolutely, brother, you are dead on. I mean, you are dead on. P, go ahead, brother.
So Pep and Kale, both y'all, man, y'all nailed the situation, right? I mean, it's just there's so many. It's been brewing for a while. With them being kind of on lockdown, right? You know what I mean? And they, a lot of them didn't want to be at home. Some of them did, but a lot of them didn't want to be at home. And now, during the pandemic, during the height of the pandemic, because we're still in the pandemic, but during the height of the pandemic, everybody was at home. People that you know what I mean? So I can see households boiling over, right? And then now you let me free, and I'm going out, and now I still have all this frustration from having to be with my aunts, uncles, cousins, everybody who had to come stay with me. It boils out into the street, and this image of what is cool or what is, you know what I mean, if you say something crazy to me, I gotta respond in said manner, right? We've gotten away from any type of neighborly love. You know what I mean? We don't care about the grandmas in the neighborhoods no more. We don't care about the aunties, uncles. We don't care about none of the OGs. You know, the true OGs. We care about what that old person that flashed a little bit of money, but never really had any real money, but they had flash money. You know what I mean? That's what our society values now, and they also look at, well, I gotta have that. You know, if I don't stand up and make an example out of you, somebody else gonna do this to me, and I'm gonna be looked at as this simp. So they're lashing out, bro. I just, right, wrong, or indifferent, they're lashing out. That's the belief. That's my perspective on it. That it's a lot of lashing out because they don't know how to address and digest the trauma that is being at home for a year with a whole bunch of other people, right? I mean, it's some people like that, but to some people that's traumatizing.
Yeah, and I want to piggyback off of Pep's viewpoint too, man. Is that the youth nowadays, and even P, you said this, man. The lack of being able to communicate. Period. I mean, you know, whether it's a casual conversation with your homeboy, or a casual conversation with your homegirl. I mean, you guys have heard it, you know, being in the schools and dealing with the youth, the juveniles, the youngins is when did it become acceptable for somebody to say, "What up, B? What's up? Oh, that's my B."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, now this is your peoples, and you're referring them as the B word,
right?
Or you know this, hey, such my, you know, is my end, or you know, man, there's been several dozen moments where I've not directly having contact with the youth, just kind of being around, and their conversation, man, is so it's so harsh. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't come from a sense of endearment. It doesn't come from a sense of confidence. It doesn't come from anything of substance. It's you know, yeah, you know, bro, man, this nigga, you know what I'm saying? Like, so when they have dialogue like that with each other, it makes you scratch your head like, man, like what if you're talking to your bro or your bestie or whatever in this manner, what is your line of communication with anybody else? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand it. And like Pep was saying, like, the new normal is for them to use cuss words at the ages of 10, 11, 12, 13. I've heard it at 8, 9, 10 as well. You know, like, when as a society do we say enough is enough? Like, you know, when you get cussed out by the 8, 9-year-old, you know, in your mind, you get kind of pissed off. I'm gonna give you a quick story. So I had contact with the 9-year-old, right? He was 9 and a half, getting ready to be 10. I had to put them braces on him because, you know, he was being active. He was everything. He was in people's cars. He was in people's houses. He was purse snatching. He was doing everything. So I had to take him to that place where he had to sit down for a little bit, you know, because he's 8, 9 years old. Yes, there are places for you if you're 8, 9 years old. If you do those type of things, there is a facility for you. Right. That's where I took him. So when I took him there and was getting him processed, there was another young brother in there, and I think he was like maybe 12. So I got the 9 and a half, 10-year-old, and then the 12-year-old, right? So when they're seeing each other, like, oh snap, like, yo, what? yo, you back in here? Hey, what you doing back in here? I'm like, now, me, I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. This is a 9.5-year-old. Like, first of all, I'm kind of perplexed that I'm even taking a 9.5-year-old here, but the choices he made led him here, right? So he talking to the 12-year-old, like, yeah, man, like, man, listen, we gonna get that food though, right? Y'all still selling food? Yeah, let me get that dinner, man. And then the conversation turned in during the process was like, do you do any drugs? Right? So I'm filling out paperwork, Pete. You know how the process is.
Absolutely.
Paperwork. They behind me, the staff is dealing with them. I'm doing my paperwork so I can get out of here. This conversation comes up. Well, this question comes up because they ask him a series of questions.
Right.
Are you under the influence of any drugs? So me, I'm here. 9.5-year-old goes, I mean, what you mean? What kind of drugs you talking about? Pep. So automatically, I'm like, hold on. There shouldn't be nothing coming out of your mouth except for no, or I don't understand what you're saying, sir. He said, what kind of drugs you talking about? So the facility employee goes, well, have you been drinking any alcohol? Nah, man, I don't do that. I'm like, who? All right, cool.
Right, you felt a sense of relief.
All right, cool. He said, have you done any other type of drugs, marijuana, anything? 9.5-year-old. Well, I mean, I did smoke a half a blunt. I was floored. So that's what we're talking about, people. We're talking about the youth who made these decisions, and that's a 9.5-year-old. Pep, I'm sure you got a lot of stories with kids even younger, man, that you've had contact with. As far as kind of how they're being guided, man. Or the choices that they're making in their life. I don't know.
So okay. This is at the age of 9, and that person that you had contact with is definitely not the only one, because we can all speak to these pre-teens having that type of interaction and it being the norm.
Mm-hmm.
It's becoming the norm, and the question that I have, so the question that I have for each of you and our audience, our listening audience and viewing audience, what took the top 3 spots of our value system? Because it's not just the kids. The kids didn't start down that path on their own, right? There was some other, either there was a time where they weren't attended to, or this is something that they witnessed through either outside of the home or inside of the home. It doesn't necessarily have to be, everybody want to blame the family first. Sometimes the family did everything they could.
Agreed.
But what took the place of our first 3 value of our value system? Pep, I'm gonna start with you because Kale just finished talking.
Well, I don't know if we identified what those first 3 slots were. However, I've been blessed enough to watch this show several times. I've been blessed to be on, I think, 3, maybe 4 times now. So I count it a privilege, and I've always seen it to be a safe space for real conversation and transparency.
Absolutely.
So I want to operate and I want to honor that. And so what I want to say is that I think that I need to be real in the conversation and say that here in the 217, the majority of these plagues, these problems are happening in the African-American community and the Latinx community. We're not talking about middle-class suburban white kids or Asian students. We're talking about middle-class and lower socioeconomic class Latinx and African-American students here in 217. I want to be specific so that I know that people are all over listening. I'm not generalizing. I'm speaking to my direct live experience. And I think Kels would agree because he's here as well. So having set that stage, first of all, we're looking at, I believe right now, we're at the 3rd generation of kids who were born to kids. That's the first thing. You talked about the OGs and not caring for them. We need to begin to understand now that there is an entire population of grandmothers and grandfathers that are under the age of 45. Under the age of 45 as grandparents. So if you take 13 years, saying that somebody had a child of 13 and you clip that down, now you're talking about the parent is 32, the child is, it's not good. And I don't mean to say it's not good that I'm passing judgment on life entering the planet, because I don't really care how old you are when you give birth. I think all of us as parents and as human beings would rather have a conversation about new life than terminal illness any day of the week. But in this, there is a pain in our streets that was simmering before the pandemic.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Things were simmering. The ingredients had been mixed. The eye had been turned on. And unfortunately, what the pandemic did to a lot of this is it kept boiling over, spewing, because we talked about young people being in the home. And what we have to understand is a lot of those homes weren't good before the pandemic, and school gave them 8 hours of reprieve.
Right. And food.
Or no food.
Right.
Depending on
school. At school, I hope you were giving them food.
Oh, yeah, at school, you can get your meal, get your snack. They was coming in my office every day, Mr. P, I need something to eat.
Oh, absolutely. Me too.
But these are factors that affect brain development. They affect your ability to reason. You're in a poor socioeconomic environment. Your nutrition is off. Your ability to get adequate rest is off. Your ability to have adequate study, reading, and meditation transactional time is depleted. And then I put you in an area where you really don't like somebody, and you're watching a bunch of other people that have stuff that you don't have, that are doing things that you can't do, that are going places that you can't go. And understand this, and I heard this in another group I was in. Young man said, you got to understand, my world ain't peaceful. I don't want your world to be peaceful. If I can't have J's, I don't want you having your J's. If I can't drive a nice car, I don't want the car you drive to be nice. That's how I'm going to level this playing field. I can't make $22 an hour. I'm going to do something to you so you can't go make $22 an hour.
Pep, let me ask you this. With that being said, do you believe, because I've kind of had this mindset, man. Do you think if we went back to the uniform standard with kids, do you think that would alleviate some of the issues for the materialistic mentality of the youth? If we went back to uniform, everybody with the same burgundy shirt, the same khaki pants, girls wear khaki skirts or whatever. Do you think that would help? I know it's not the softball, but do you think that would eliminate some of the friction that we're having seeing in school as far as the J's and the other material stuff? Well,
but even in our uniform schools, they can wear whatever shoes they want. See,
agreed.
I'm nervous to jump into that because I know a lot of brilliant kids who never pull their pants up, but don't utter cuss words. They just sag because that's a style for them. That's their thing. I know some kids who never lace up their shoes and will never straighten his hat out that are on the honor roll. You know what I'm saying? And so I hear you. And I think that it could make a positive impact because at least the one thing you are doing for 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, is you're taking away this concept of competition, of who got what and who don't. But even in that, all of us know you can tell the khakis that came from Bacharach from the khakis that came at Walmart.
True.
And I'm not putting anything down. I'm saying there's still those levels of have and have nots that exist even in uniformity. So do I think that it would help Yes. However, until there is some unity in working with and developing these young and older parents, until there's a uniformity to where that our teachers believe that the education they're supposed to be teaching should be spread to the child that learns easily, just as it should be the child that needs that extra help. You have to understand that these issues may be starting out of the home, but man, they are impacted in our schools.
Right.
And we're asking a lot from our teachers, especially coming out of pandemic. My mother was a teacher, so I'm not putting teachers down, but my mother was a teacher. She just wasn't an information presenter. You're going to learn this. When I was growing up, you're going to sit at these tables and get these times tables, and you're going to memorize them until no matter which one I ask you, no matter what order I ask you, you know the answer.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to read level 3 book until you get to level 4, until you get to 12. Come on, P. And those types of things aren't happening because we got young parents who aren't there. They got to work or they in the streets.
Pep, man.
I'm on pause. Let me wet my whistle.
The difference between presenting information and teaching. We have community people that's in the community engagement roles. We have people that's in the pulpits that are confused about the difference between providing information and teaching.
I give it to you in 2 minutes or less.
That is.
But I feel like what's understood don't need to be said.
Right, but there's people in our listening audience that will watch this video later or is watching it now. There is so it needs to be said, even if we already know 80% of it. It needs to be said. Kale, jump in before you get your 2 minutes, Pat.
Now, let me say this now, because we've got a lot of educators, you know what I'm saying, that rock with us here at the Perspective 217,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them will say, Brother Peppers, I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, I was hired to come in here and teach. I wasn't hired to come in here and be security. I wasn't hired to come in here and be a therapist. I wasn't hired to be a counselor. So when a child comes in here with those issues, which steers me off from being able to teach, and I have to approach this young man or this young woman in another fashion, because everything that I'm trying to lay down to educate them, and I have to go through the hoops to try to find out what the end is, so that I can get to the point. What do I do then? So I understand, brother, what you're saying as far as, not being the information gatherer and being an educator. But when you have that demographic of kid that comes in that does not want to put down anything, take in anything that you put down, what do we do then?
You want me to answer?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
And, for our listeners who are educators, I'm so serious about this because my mother died teaching, literally. My mother was a 4th grade teacher and suffered cardiac arrest right in front of her class. So this means something to me. But I believe those who have entered the field of education with the passion for educating children, one of the first issues that happens is there's a large conglomerate of them. If they are allowed and placed in a safe space where they can speak freely, will talk about the fact that they're not duly supported in the building in which they serve. Mm-hmm. And I've worked in those buildings in both Champaign and Urbana. Real talk. Both districts. I worked at all 3 public high schools. I've worked at both middle schools. I've worked at most of the elementary schools. I've been fortunate enough to work with students from kindergarten to 12th grade and beyond in a special ed class that served students 18 to 21 that had the disabilities and challenges. So for your point about that student, how long does it take for me to ask a student, can I see you over here real quick? Now, I've got to get through this lesson. I'm just checking in with you. I'm not fronting on you. You know, have you had anything to eat today? What time did you go to bed last night? You know, I sent this assignment home. Is there anyone at the house that can help you? What does home look like real quick? Because we got to get this assignment. And I get what you're saying. Man, we weren't paid to do that. I believe you were. Because that's part of the teaching process.
Mm-hmm.
Because in those classes, I'm not only teaching you reading, writing, and arithmetic, I'm teaching you to understand and then put it to use for your benefit to be a part of a society where you can live on a level that supplies your means.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Now,
Correct.
and I hear
But
you.
people don't come
And I'm
into
saying
that.
for those problematic students,
Right.
problematic students that are in front of you, you have to understand, I'm not saying it's not exhausting. I'm not saying it's not challenging. I'm not saying it's not the worst thing in the world some days of the week. But what I am saying is that those who have entered the field of education to educate and have a passion about that, they realize that they've been educated to the point, if I'm doing lesson planning, I might have to do Timothy planning. If I'm doing lesson planning, I may have to do Janet planning. If I'm doing lesson planning, I may have to do Maria planning. Because that has always been a part of the job, whether the kid brought a gun to school or an empty stomach. To your point, the 2 minutes, presenting information or teaching is just that. All three of us can write something on the board, pull up the overhead projector, tell you to turn to chapter 6, take you through it, give you an assignment, and give you a date by which I want that assignment back. Then I'm going to go through it and mark it right, mark it wrong, and enter these points in. I have presented you with the information that you need to satisfy the state's mandates for this curriculum and haven't taught you a thing.
Agreed.
I'm done.
That wasn't it to me. Haven't taught you a thing, though. Really, I mean,
Right.
that is when we're talking about, like Kel, me, you, and Pep have done facilitating, right? We've done presenting, right? When we present, we engage with our audience, right?
Yeah.
Which in that case would be the students. We've had people that were disruptive in our facilitating events or our presentations.
Correct.
Right. And we didn't let that stop us from trying to present that information.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We took the time to try to explain that. Now, you ain't gonna take over the show, right? You know what I mean? You're not a heckler at a comedy show, and you happen to be funnier than me. No, this is my show, right? You know what I mean? The teachers need to run their classroom, but they also need to make sure that the students, the people who they're giving the information to, know that they care about their well-being. No,
can I ask a quick question, P?
Yes,
and
sir.
it's for you.
Yes, sir.
The months that you sat in my office with me, the numerous of students that came in and out of my office, not just at my desk, how long did it take many of those students to realize whether a teacher was invested in them or not?
Man, when they, by the time they walked in, and then the teacher put them out. Because
so when if nobody's investing in me at home, or not investing to me in a way that's going to be productive, because we all got limitations. We're all only so good at so much.
Right.
And there is no pamphlet on parenting. So all due respect to people who are trying on any level to get a child to a successful, healthy, happy lifestyle, whatever level that is.
Right.
But it's almost disrespectful to send a child into an environment. I'll have them be wounded and then punish them for them recognizing that, responding to the wound, and then expect them to go back in there and be okay.
That is so That's one side of the coin, right?
Just one, and not the only one.
No, that's one side of the coin. So we said that we started out Kels and Pep with schools
Mm-hmm.
and students.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let me, ooh, these doggone students. Okay, so we talked about how the teachers could add more, right? Add more value to what they do and to reach these students in which we're about to talk about, and some of the ones that are in the middle that are getting lost in the shuffle because they're not the real good students. They're not the ones that are disruptive all the time. They're just the ones that's in the middle that's getting lost. Right, you know what I mean? They're doing the work, but they're being forgotten about, right? You know what I mean? So they're just kind of, you know what I mean, kind of sliding down. You know, freshman year they were an AB student. Sophomore year they're a BC student. Junior year they're a D student, right? Because they've fell down because they don't get the attention that they need, right? You know what I mean? And they don't say nothing at home because they're not that type of kid. They just, oh, everything's fine. Oh yeah,
They're not a behavior problem, so I'm not going to worry about the academics that much.
Right.
You're not disrupting my flow, so you know you know what's interesting, man. I have one question that I ask all students, and the amazing thing is, every student I have ever asked this question has always been able to pinpoint a time, and I ask them, when did school change or go bad for you? What grade was that? I've never had a student not be able to tell me what grade. Never. Never. Never.
No, do they respond with a particular class, a particular teacher, or a particular grade?
I've had all three.
Mm.
And then sometimes I've gotten all three from one person.
Mm-hmm.
But if I just start with, you know, what grade did it happen? Because oftentimes what I'm trying to do is to trigger the time frame and the season and not so much the person. Because I don't want them stuck on what a person did. I want them to be able to recognize that there was a season of change for them. And just like it changed negatively in that season, in this season, if they are willing, we can change it to the positive.
That
Now,
part
don't
right
get me
there,
wrong.
brother. That
Don't
part
get me
right
wrong.
there.
There's work on both ends.
The willing. That's where we're at. The willing part for that student
If I
to
no
want
longer,
to
if I no longer
change the
believe
season.
it, but if I no longer believe it works for me or applies to me or is for me, if I don't believe in it, then I'm gonna put work elsewhere.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And if I'm not hearing it, I'm not going to tell you I was a great student, but I was a good enough student because somebody at home and somebody at church and somebody along the way kept telling me, you know, we think you start. We think you got. I don't know if I was smart or not, but there were enough people in my life who poured into me that said that. One thing I know, you can't pour out of an empty vessel.
Woo.
So, guns being brought to school. Let's just jump right on into it, right?
You're just gonna dive right on in, huh? Let's get it. Let's get it.
So the reason I want to jump right into that because we kind of laid the foundation of we know we have good students, we have students kids that just want to come do their work. You know what I mean? They can see the vision down the road. You know what I mean? That ain't a lot of them though. You know, then you have all those middles. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like looking for guidance, kind of need that. And then you got the ones that have been traumatized. And the ones that are traumatized people traumatize other people, right? I mean, that is a proven fact, right? That traumatized people traumatize other people.
Absolutely.
So, Champaign-Urbana, I'm out here in Oklahoma City. Y'all know that, right? I don't have any school like regular school age, like high school and below age kids. Both of my kids, I say all, like I got like 12. Both of my boys are out of high school, right? And either pursuing their career that they're trying to get into or in school. On the Secondary level. Is that what it is? Secondary level. So Champaign-Urbana, y'all have had more, and I say y'all because I ain't there right now. Y'all have had more incidents in these. What month is this? September. Two months, right? Because you started in August.
4 weeks.
4 weeks. Y'all have had more drama. Like y'all have had bomb threats. Y'all have had guns being brought to school. They chased the kid into an office. The kid chased them back out of the office with a gun, right? Metal detectors have been put in the schools. Tell what else? I mean, it's more.
A shooting. We've had a shooting on the high school's campus.
A school bus has been hit.
And the school bus has been hit as well.
You've had lockdowns. At
Probably every day.
High schools
Every day.
on both in middle school,
Yeah.
soft and hard. You have for 4.5 weeks of school. I don't know to this date, and I could look up the numbers, but I don't know to this date at the 3 public high schools that you've had this many expulsion hearings. Now, I don't want to say whether someone was expelled or not, but I don't believe we've held this many expulsion hearings the first 4.5 weeks of school. That means, just for the listeners out there, within Unit 4 and District 116, with the exception of special ed kids with IEPs, which are individualized educational plans, all students come with a bucket of 10 days that they can be suspended within the school year before you begin to have or call an expulsion hearing. So in 4.5 weeks, that means that the behaviors have been so high that they skip the 10 days and look to permanently remove the student. And that means when you are expelled, you have to reapply the following year to come back to the district as a public student on those grounds and to leave, to leave specialized educational forces. So we're talking, I think we're right at 5.5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We've had more expulsion hearings this year than any that I'm aware of ever between both districts.
You know the crazy thing about expulsion, if they don't right to that because of this behavior, when you get expelled, when you move and you apply to another school in another district, another area, that's one of the questions that is on the paperwork. Have you been expelled or suspended, or are you on suspension from another school that you were fleeing from? It may not say those words, but that's basically what it says. And they may not let you in because of that.
And understand this, Pete, you know very well, when a kid gets expelled from, let's say, Urbana,
right,
they come over to Champaign. Now, our geography here is we're not a population of millions. We are right below about 100,000. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what the numbers are with the university, but still. So you're talking about a situation where they get expelled from this particular location, and they might literally go across the street. So it's not like you're taking that person completely out of the situation. You're just basically repositioning them somewhere. Because our geographical area here is not that vast, so you can't you can't go from like the south side of Chicago to the north side of Chicago. You can't go to the west side of Chicago to the north side. Our north, south, and east, west is like this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you're thinking about minutes apart. So when you expel the student from this particular location and you put them at a Ready or a Novak or whatever, you're still in the thick of things. You're just not at that particular high school.
So we know the expulsion thing. Expelling the students is not stopping them from making threats, coming back up to the schools, jumping on buses and beating on kids. You know what I mean? I've now most of my encounters through third party and social media, because I'm not there any longer to actually be physically engaged in it. But kids have been expelled, and then brought their brothers and sisters and cousins to get on the bus and jump the kid that got expelled over. And shootings. How you gonna do a drive-by? How you gonna be driving down the street, shooting at each other, and shoot a bus with kids in it?
Broad daylight. School hours.
That is not the teachers.
No, sir.
The teachers ain't got nothing to do with that. That's going back to that value system that we was talking about earlier. They don't value when we first, Pep, you keep saying it to me, when we first launched Self-Made Kings, the first question we asked them was, what is your worth? What is your worth, right? You know, and Pep, I know you remember, but I'm gonna go ahead and say we had 11 there at the time, because we tried to get 12, but everybody didn't show up initially.
Well, we actually had 12, and then we had a couple things happen with a couple students, and one moved. So
yes,
then we were at 10.
So we only had 2 that even tried to answer.
Yeah.
And so I said, so okay. I asked all of them, are you worth more than those Air Force Ones on your feet? None of them said yes. If you don't believe that you're worth more than a $79, $80 pair of shoes, how do you value anybody or anything else?
Yeah.
The value system is so, they value things over personal life.
Sad.
How do we, and this is one of them shows that we need the full 2 hours, but we ain't gonna be able to do it today because we ain't tell people it's gonna be 2 hours. How do we, as people who are trying, right? Because you got some people that's gonna say that they want to do something, but they really don't want to put the work in, right? They just kind of want to do it, right? You know what I mean? They don't want to put in the work to make the change. You know, oh no, that ain't my kids. You know what I mean? I ain't, but that may affect your kids one day. That ain't where I live, but they may spill over into where you live one day. So we need to address the cancer, not calling these youth cancer, but the situation is cancerous. We have to address the cancer where it's at and try to stop it in the prostate before it spreads to everywhere else. So how do we even start? Right? You know what I mean? Let's just kind of, so that we don't get too deep into it. How do we start, gentlemen, from your perspectives?
I'll say this. Society, right? Society as a whole. Society has to do a better job, you know, because I'm not going to blame the youth with everything that they are privy to. I mean, in 2021, man, you could pick up a cell phone and get everything that you want at a click of a button.
Right.
You know, but we are expecting these youth to be able to digest that and act accordingly. But in society, with the things that we hear, the music, the videos, you know, the things where people have made a name for themselves or have made a bunch of money, you know, that has been kind of the forefront of the push when it comes to the media for these youth. So,
Mm-hmm.
back when we were younger, you would see the D boys on the block, right?
Mm-hmm.
We knew what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Even though that they were hustling or whatever, and we knew what the pros were and we knew what the cons were, right?
Absolutely.
If you sacrificed yourself or you took that risk of being out on the street, you knew what the repercussions were potentially. Well, now it's society presents to the world that, hey, there is no boundaries now.
Right.
You can go out and act a fool and sell your soul and and sell your body and whatever you want, and have OnlyFans and all that. And I'm not trying to target those folks, but I'm just saying, this is the world that we live in.
You're right.
Where if I'm a 13, hell, if I'm a 10-year-old and I pick up the phone, and if I don't have those restrictions on my phone, I can see everything today, right now. I don't have to wait until I'm 18. For what? I got the internet. So society as a whole has given the youth everything. And so as parents, you have to try to combat that. What are my kids looking at? What are my kids watching? You know what I'm saying? Why is this man walking around with a skirt on? Like, there's daily fires that you have to put out as a parent, because society is throwing it in our youth's face. Now, for grown people and adults, we understand. Look, I'm either gonna rock with this or I'm not.
Right.
But the youth, when they see this, the glitter, the glam, and you're saying like, wow, this person is acting as a doggone fool. But hold on, wait a minute. Now look at their bank account though, man. They drive around the Maseratis and the Bentleys and all that. Like, that sparks their interest. Society is where we got to start up. Now, how do we do that? I don't know, bro, because unless your kid lives in under their bed in their room with no Wi-Fi and no electronic devices, good luck with that. Because everything is technology driven. Schools, you name everything. Everything is technology driven. Right. So you can't take that element, or you can't take that piece off, because we have generations now who have grown up on the internet. And these are the results that we are seeing now, whether it's in homes, in schools, out in public, everything.
So before you jump in, Pep, our brother Moyo, Mike Matzi said accountability as a whole. You know what I mean? It basically talks to what you just talked about. You know what I mean? That the accountability is missing. So go ahead, Pep.
I'm real quick. I'm just going to turn way left. We have any youth right now who are watching this in the 217 area? We have any parents watching this in the 217 area? Because that's where I'm at. Young parents, old parents, anybody who's watching this. I just want to tell you, my name is Lamont Peppers. I work for the city of Urbana. Already, I believe in you.
Yes.
Right now, where you're at, in your shortcomings, in your pain, in your poverty, in your drug addiction, in your academic excellence, in your failures, I just want you to be able to hear somebody talk about that they have a belief in you to be the best you can be. And I'm right over in the city building in Urbana. I don't care where you live. If there's anything I can do that's legal and helpful, I'd be glad to do it. I only get one trip on the side of the sun. That's it.
Lamont Peppers, he's over there at the city of Urbana, Illinois. He's a community. You're not the community relations specialist anymore. There was only one. You're the what?
The title's community engagement coordinator.
Okay, yeah, that's your title.
But you know what? I'll grab the broom and push like the janitor. I'll grab the spoon and stir like the cook. You know what I'm saying? I'll fold the sheets and the bedpans like the nurse. At this point in my life, I have kids that I birthed. I have kids that I care for. And I have kids who know me that I don't know that well. I just want these young people to make it.
Let me pause you right there. You didn't birth them. I know the woman at birth. You did help in that process.
I'm not
but
going to
you
give you
did
that
not
credit, brother.
But I
I'm
did
saying,
say,
put that out there
you
because
assisted,
look,
but you
I
didn't
stand
build it.
corrected because I
we
couldn't
had
do
something to
it.
talk about,
There you
brother.
go.
If you did.
There you go.
But no, real talk on sincere note, you know, Lamont is there. Kales is there too. If somebody need somebody to come talk to, they're young ones. You know what I mean? I know that both of these brothers do it in the Champaign-Urbana area. If you know me and still believe in me and want me to holler at your kids, hey, let's get together. It don't have to be face to face. You know what I mean? It can be virtual. You know what I mean? We can do StreamYard, we can do Zoom, we can do Facebook Live. I mean, you know what I mean? It's all of these. There's avenues out there. Can we, the three of us, fix everything? I don't believe so. But we can definitely make a lot of ripples in the water, right? And try to direct them in a different path. I hate to use the word better, just a different path, right? Because the path they've been on is not working, right? You know, let's try something different. You know, if you keep bumping your head against that concrete wall, look for the door. Try to open the window. You know what I mean? Quit bumping your head on that concrete wall because that wall is harder than your head. I don't care how hard-headed you are. We are here for you. We do this show, the Perspective 217, and the people who come on this show do come on because we care. We want to be a light, something to share some of the issues and things that we've been through in life. Because none of us is perfect, right? We've bumped our heads, Lord Jesus, numerous times, right? Making bad decisions, but God saw fit, right? Whether you're religious or not, whether you believe in a higher power or not, God saw fit. You know what I mean? To put us here to where we can give back, and that's our purpose, and that's our cause, right? So we do want to close. I mean, we're about 5 minutes over the time that we actually started. Kale, you got any closing statements, man? We didn't really dive too deep into the guns, but we got plenty of show for that.
Yeah, you know, I want to touch on this topic real quick, man. Today was a information overload, and from the responses that we're getting from our viewers and listeners, man, you know, this is a sensitive topic, because there are a lot of questions out there as far as, you know, how do we make these schools better? And one thing I want to bring to light is this. Here locally, 217, like Pep said, you know, we have a shortage of teachers. We have a shortage of hall monitors. You know, we have a shortage of counselors.
Absolutely.
And whatever, you know, state that you're in, if that problem is there, you know, be one of the people that stand up. You know, if you want to be a person that's going to help, whether you're going to be a mentor, you know, whether you're going to be a hall monitor or an educator or a counselor or whatever, be that person. Lead by example, because our youth are dependent on you. You know, we have a great deal of conversation about the youth on the Perspective 217, but I know here locally, 217, we have a shortage of staff here. So if you are listening and this grabs you, you know, go through the necessary steps, you know, to become a hall monitor or counselor or whatever that field is for you, because those voids are missing. And you know, and I don't know if that's due to COVID. I don't know if that's just people like, you know, I'm tired, or people just don't know, you know, what avenues they need to do to connect in order to make it happen. But don't stop. You know, if you don't know, ask somebody. If need to be, if you know you need to reach out to any of us three, you know, you can always leave a message, you know, on our Facebook page here, and if we don't know the answers, we'll get it to you.
Absolutely.
Right. But I don't want you to feel that, your answers or whatever you got going on, that you can't find that answer, that it won't be resolved. We can help you. Hopefully, if we don't, then we can find somebody who does. Because between us three here, if we can't find the answer to you, we definitely know somebody who can. So I want that to kind of be highlighted here. Whether you're in Illinois or Georgia or Kentucky or whatever, there are shortages in these schools. And so they need people, volunteers, mentors, teachers, and so forth. So if that's your calling and you want to help, let's step up and do the right thing to help the youth.
Absolutely. Pep.
Hey man, we just, I think we just tear down blessings on these young people. We just call on God to just tear down blessings. We understand the times that we're in. I just want people to have peaceful journeys. And right now, it's anything but peace that's happening right here on our streets on all levels, from 12th grade all the way down, sadly enough, to kindergarten. It's sad. It's not impossible, but it's scary. It's not undefeatable, but it's strong. So, just want to tear down blessings. Those of you who are out here listening or watching or may watch, anybody in a dark space, it's only dark because you haven't made it to the light. It's there.
Say that again. Right. Man. Indeed. Well, man, gentlemen, I'm full this evening. Right. You know what I mean? Generally, I come to give. I received today. Right. You know what I mean? It ain't always. I don't get every show. I don't receive. I have a good time, but I received today, and it recharged me. It refocused me to what God put me on this earth to do. Right. And I thank you for that. All of our listeners that came on and commented, and those who may comment later, I thank you, because we thank you, because your comments and your interaction helped us produce our thoughts. Right. You know what I mean? Because it gave us different ideas. It's different perspectives. This is a perspective. Right. So we appreciate you. Check back in with us next week. It's a Perspective 217. Same Thursday, same time, and we out.